You can't be an elite pitcher and not be able to talk. It is one of the quickest ways for a pitcher to make improvements on their performance in a game, and it doesn't happen like it should. A pitcher is one of the most important positions on that field, right? They're controlling the game. They have the ball in their hands. And if head coaches do not know what they are working on or where they're at with a certain pitch, that is not doing enough for our pitchers. Hey guys, Jamie Southern here. Welcome to the Weekly Dose. Super excited to be able to give you guys a channel where we go beyond the lessons, beyond the mechanics, beyond the spins. It's something that's not so technical, that we get to talk strategies, communication, knowing who you are, recruiting, and all that goes into making a true pitcher, an elite pitcher. So when you think about an elite pitcher, they have all these qualities that we're going to be discussing. And so it's not just balls, strikes, mechanics, right? There's so much more. And so I'm super excited. And if you are interested and just as excited to kind of hear these things, please like this channel or subscribe to it so you guys are up to date on all the weekly topics that we're going to give you this year. So last week was an overview of communication and the importance that it brings to a pitcher. Communication is the number one tool that pitchers have if they are elite. You can't be an elite pitcher and not be able to talk. So if you want to kind of get that, head on over and watch that show from last week. And that kind of gives you the overview of the importance of talking to your coaches and your catchers and your parents and your pitching coach and just all of that, your teammates. So it's definitely an important one. But today we're going to be talking about a topic, something that just doesn't happen like it should. It is one of the quickest ways for a pitcher to make improvements on their performance in a game, and it doesn't happen like it should. And it frustrates me. It frustrated me as a pitching coach, which we'll get into later, but it's frustrating for me to watch this when the pitcher can grow so much in a game situation. And that is the lack of communication between a head coach and their pitching coach. Now, there is a lot that goes in it, and I get it. It's life, right? Pitching coaches, head coaches, they have families. They have full-time jobs, some of them. They have other pitchers on their team. Pitching coaches have their own pitchers that they represent, right? They could have 25 to 50 pitchers that they see weekly. So I get that it's not easy, but it needs to happen. I'm sure that we will go into this as another topic this year about the lack of time pitchers are given to show their head coach where they are during the week, because, I get there's just not enough fields in some towns. There's not enough hours in the week to get defensive practices. One of the practices is most often in a batting cage. And so I get that. We have to recognize, though, that a pitcher is one of the most important positions on that field, right? They're controlling the game. They have the ball in their hands. And if head coaches do not know what they are working on or where they're at with a certain pitch, and they expect to go weekend to weekend, games to games, to watch them from the side, from the dugout, that is not doing enough for our pitchers. I'm not trying to attack the head coaches. I get it. I understand it's hard. But I think we have to do a better job to know how much growth our pitchers can have if we do. I think it's important for us to realize that we can win more games if we do. And if you signed up to be a head coach, at the top level, you guys are representing every single player on your team to put them in a position to showcase their abilities, right? And so if we are not on the same page with what they're doing during the week, that is harmful. That is hurting their chances and their performance. Parents, I think you need to ask these questions of your head coach, but maybe in a respectful way, demand that this gets taken care of. I know that pitching coaches, most of them would love to help. We represent your daughter, right? We are on your daughter's side. And I look at myself as a pitching coach, right? It would frustrate me that we would work on a pitch in practice. And I'm like, listen, your rise ball is ready to be pitched in a game. I want you to throw, I would say this, I want you to throw your rise ball one time to every single batter. And they would come back the next week and I'm like, how was it? And they'd say, I just threw it one time all tournament. They only called it one time. I mean, guilty. I'm guilty as a former pitching coach, right? I think that, and I'm not just saying this, but I think it's the head coach's job to initiate that conversation with the pitching coach, to maybe reach out. And I say that because pitching coaches, I mean, you're the head coach of the team. And for a pitching coach to come in and say, you need to be calling this and this, and right, it comes off a little harsh. But I think as a head coach, if you open up that communication with the pitching coach, then they're going to give you information. The pitching coach is going to give you almost the pitcher's game plan to say, yeah, I would call this, I would do this, I would call change-ups after you throw a rise, or whatever it is that works best for their pitcher. You're going to be given more information. It's going to make your job easier. Head coaches, you have the most to gain from this communication. Okay, so now what? Right? We know the problem. We know the benefit if we can fix it. But how do we fix it? Right? What if the head coach doesn't want to or won't communicate with the pitching coach? I think as parents then, we have options. We can question. We can say, hey, what do you need from us to help this go easier? We know we don't want to add an additional load onto you, but how can we help? Right? Parents, I think if you're still hitting a road bump with it, it might be a question to say gosh, he doesn't want to talk or he won't talk. Is this the best place for my daughter? Right? Having a coach that's not willing to do something that would better her performance and the team's performance. This isn't an easy topic to talk about, right? We don't want to hear where we're lacking in our jobs. We don't. It's not easy. The last 9 years, I've had little kids. I've had 25 girls that I would give lessons to every week. And to go from weekend to weekend and communicating, that would be a lot on my plate. But if a parent were to ask me to do this, or to say, hey, this is the head coach's phone number, they're okay for you to text them and tell them any information about Susie, I would have done it. It wasn't always on my mind, but I think too, to be able to connect the two. So this is for pitchers and parents, right? To go out to connect those two, because it really is going to benefit the pitcher. Pitchers, remember, we talked last week about your role in communicating with your coaches and communicating with your pitching coaches, but we also have to somehow get everybody on board. And when they do, you're going to thrive with it, because you know you best, but the second person that knows you is probably your parents. But after that is your pitching coach. Your pitching coach sees you every week for 30 minutes to an hour, and they know what your weaknesses are. They know what you struggle with and your strengths and how confident you are in certain things. They know your emotions, right? You're more vulnerable with your pitching coach. So they get you, they know you. So the most important thing you can do is to open up to your head coach the same way, or to let them connect. I think in my 18 years of giving pitching lessons, I've had 2 head coaches come to a lesson. So it's not common. Parents, it's not common. But when a pitcher says, hey, can my head coach come to my practice just to see what I'm working on and see the different things you tell me so they know how to help me in a game, 100% bring them. Bring them, because it is helping you as a pitcher. It just doesn't happen. And I think it should. I think we can do more, because remember, it's going to benefit the team and the coach by winning. So for the homework of the week, we're going to do things a little bit differently, and I'm going to drop a video of your homework tomorrow on the Weekly Dose Facebook page. And this will be good stuff. Tonight, I just wanted you guys to think about it. Maybe open up some conversation and maybe put a phone call out to your head coach to see if they're open to something like that. And it is hard to come up with a workout that involves communication with your pitching coach and your head coach. So I just picked a favorite of mine that I've done for years, and I've learned this drill in college at Fresno State, and we did it often. So I'm going to share that with you, so be on the lookout for that. If there are any comments or questions that you may have, you can always ask them in the comment section below this video, or you can shoot me a message in the Weekly Dose Facebook page, and we will get those answered for you. And remember to like or subscribe if you guys want to keep kind of getting this information sent your way. Remember, we're beyond the balls and strikes. We're beyond the mechanics and the spin, and we want to give you guys all of our tips. So I look forward to seeing you guys live on Wednesday. Come with any questions that you have, and I look forward to hearing how these topics are kind of changing your daughter's games. Thank you guys for watching. I look forward to seeing you guys on Wednesday, and then for your next Weekly Dose next week.